Hey guys, we are back for another episode here. We're going to go ahead and make something cool I've been wanting to do for a while. We're going to take this old beaten and battered Tekken 5 Hori stick. I used to use it for something I can't remember, but I basically modified it to have all Sanwa parts. So that's a real JLF. These are actual Sanwa OSBF buttons, I think, or N. I can't remember the ones that snap in. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this old beat up Nintendo controller. We're going to pull the PCB out, and we're going to pad hack it and put it in here so we can actually use this joystick for NES. So, yes, there's 4 buttons here, but we're going to use this for B and A, and then select and start. Just something simple. I've been wanting to do this for a while, to play some of the shooters and play some of the versus games since I've been playing on my red tent with this stick. So, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and tear the pad apart here and kind of check some pinouts online to kind of see, you know, which is ground and the activation and all that. And then this is an old project box I had 3D printed a while ago where the controller kind of just fits in there. So we are going to have to mod the case in here a little bit. I'll show you that once we cut it up here. There's a little plastic tray. We'll have to cut that out so you can feed the NES plug through and then out the back. So let's go ahead and get out to the bench and start taking some stuff apart. Alright, so we're out here in the lab. What we're going to do now is go ahead and start taking this guy apart. And yeah, this one's kind of beat up, so you can see here the back's kind of got that Nintendo charm where it turns a different color. So it's just 6 little Phillips head screws. We'll go ahead and pull those guys out, and then we'll start looking at the board, clean it up, and then we'll look up the pin out for it. Alright, so we got these screws out. We're going to go ahead and pull this off now, so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. So pretty much identical to the Famicom boards here. We have a couple of wires here, kind of translate to different things. So we'll go ahead and pull this out here. Remove it from that. And we're not going to use any of this stuff. We'll probably keep this in case someone wants to make something with it, but this is just kind of the shell of the sticks. You see the little rubber actuators and things like that. So set this to the side, see if anybody wants to use those parts for anything. But this is pretty much what we're looking at here. So we'll peel this off. Now what we're going to have to do is scrape these off, because underneath these little black things here is some, I don't know if it's copper or whatever, but it's metal like this, or brass or something that we can actually solder to. So one of these on each side will be the positive, and one will be the ground for all of these. So basically, well, I'm pretty sure it's a common ground. I'm not 100% sure. I'll pin it out with the meter to check. But we're going to use one for up, one for down, one for left, one for right, and then one for ground, and then one for start and select, and then one for B and A, and hopefully they share a ground. If not, we can run other grounds. It's not a big deal, but we're going to go ahead and pin this out to see what that is. Alright, so we got the meter out here, and looking at the board, I actually can tell here that it does have a common ground. You can kind of look at the traces here. So see how this one kind of splits here? So this here is the ground. If you come up, you see it comes up here, and it touches here, and then it comes over here, and it touches here. Kind of has these little trails, so we'll know that and looking at these should all be the same. If we kind of put our meter here, we have it on continuity here, we do this here, and if we follow it up, we should get continuity on any side that shares that ground. So good. So since this is all the same, we're good to go. So we know that that's the ground, and then we'll go ahead and finish scraping these off so we get a little bit better solder. And then we're going to go ahead and solder the JLF connector here, and then a ground here, and then a lead, and then a lead for each one of these, and then we'll start making the quick disconnects and the cables and plugging it into the stick. So I'm going to go ahead and get the solder out and start cleaning that board up. Alright, so the board is now prepped, so I went ahead and cut some wires. We're going to use black for ground, then we'll use these colors for start, select, B, and A. I did go get my good iron, so we're not using the crappy one I have. So gonna go ahead and prep these wires. I'm gonna trim the ends, tin those, and then we're gonna put balls here on the ones that I've solder balls on where I've kind of stripped here, so we'll know which one's which. So we'll pick this back up once these are all tinned and actually attached here, and then we will go ahead and start working the case. Alright, so we're done with that. We have all the everything's kind of hooked up here. We have our B and A button, we have our select, and oh, I actually missed one. I gotta go back and do that one. We'll touch that up before we keep going. But we have our ground here, we have our directional pad here with its own ground. I know I can share it with this one, but I was kind of like to give the D-pad its own ground. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this wire here for start, and then we are going to go ahead and start putting this into the stick. Here we go real quick. I just added that yellow wire for the select button. So now we're going to go ahead and put it into the case. Just to kind of show you here, we have to cut this whole thing out to fit the NES plug here, so we can then feed it out the back here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this case up here so we can fit that plug. Alright, so we have a hole big enough now for the NES plug to fit through there. We're going to go ahead now and take the Pad Hacked board here, and we're actually going to fit it into this little project box, and then we're going to go ahead and tuck this into the actual case. So I'll go ahead and take this and fit it in, and we'll pick it up there. Alright, so we have the pad tucked in there. See here we have everything fitting here, and then we're going to go ahead and take this little lid here and kind of put it on top. Put it on top like this. This way the PCB is secure, not open, and then we'll go ahead and put this into the shell. Alright, so there we go. We've got the project box mounted here. We have our leads for our buttons here, and then we have our joystick lead over here. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull the panel up. We're going to go ahead and make sure we have room here. This should be good. This should fit up here. And this will give us room for our start, select, A and B. One thing I will have to do is loop the grounds to all of the buttons themselves. Unfortunately, I don't have any quick disconnects, so I have to do what I hate doing and actually solder directly to the buttons. But that'll just be temporary. I do have quick disconnects at my shop, but I'm not running over there today. So I'll just make a daisy chain and solder them up, and we'll pick it up once that's done. Alright, so here we go. Get this prepped. I'm just going to go ahead and solder these wires here directly to these leads, and then build our daisy chain. And once that's done, we can screw the panel in, which I'll show you what's involved with that, because this stick's actually kind of a pain. Before we do that, you actually have to route out all of these holes to actually fit a 30mm button and do all that. You got to modify the panel and everything here, but I'm gonna go ahead and solder these up, and then we'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so we have this soldered up, everything's good. Let's go ahead and connect the D-pad here. And we'll just fold this down and tuck it. I'll have to move that over a little bit here because the solder sticks out a little bit more, but we're going to go ahead and bolt this down, and then we'll go test it to make sure everything works. Alright, so here it is all buttoned up. We've got the 6 kind of carriage bolt things here on the top. I did want to show you this before we put the bottom panel on here. This stick is kind of a pain because you actually have to take and mount these screws from the bottom here. There's 6 of them, so it's kind of hard to see, but there's one in each corner. They kind of bolt in, and then basically what we do is we take this steel panel here that I've got here, and it kind of rests like that, and then we bolt that in. So what we'll do to finish this video up is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the TV, get the AVS plugged in, and I'll give you guys a quick demo of the stick popping before we bolt this panel on. Alright, so do a quick little demo here on Castlevania. Go through the first stage and kind of show you that everything's working. You'll probably hear the buttons go and everything, but it's very similar to playing on the Red 10, only the Sanwa buttons and stick are very, very sensitive compared to the original Nintendo micro switch sticks and leaf switch buttons. Yeah, but it plays great. One thing that you do gotta get used to is even if you're touching up slightly, you will get that magic. So there we go. That's pretty much it. This is the stick again. Again, these are the 2 buttons we're using for A or B and A, start and select. And then we got the panel routed out here at the back, and our steel plate here on the back. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.